Welcome back to the Call to Farms podcast. I'm Sophia, your host today, and I'm so excited to welcome Corey Dunn of For Nutrient's Sake. Corey and I go back a couple of years together. We are both Weston A chapter leaders and love and adore the work of Sally Fallon Morell. Corey is particularly passionate about helping families make real food actually doable in real life. And not in a perfect Instagram kitchen, not with unlimited time, and not with kids who magically eat everything on their plate. She talks about the real life side of nourishing our families, from picky kids, busy schedules, food overwhelm, and how to bring nutrient-dense ancestral foods into the home in a way that feels simple, practical, and sustainable. I'm especially excited for this conversation because so many moms want to feed their families better, but they feel like they're constantly fighting against time, budget, picky eaters, and decision fatigue. And Corey brings such a grounded and encouraging perspective to this topic. So, Corey, welcome to the Call to Farms. I'm so happy to have you here.
Okay, I'm so excited for this conversation with Corey. Before we dive into picky kids and busy schedules, I would love for our listeners to get to know you, Corey. What brought you into the world of real food, ancestral nutrition, and helping families make it doable?
Okay. So I always say that I kind of grew up in that crunchy mom. Like now there's this term of the 90s butter mom. Do you know this?
No, I don't know
Have you seen
this.
this? Okay.
No.
So this is like, I, I don't know. It's a new term that the internet is using, and people are calling it the 90s butter mom.
Okay. What
Okay.
is that? Who is
And
she?
like, yeah, who is she? Well, she's clearly not really a real person, right? Because whose mom was using butter in the 90s? Um, But the idea is like her kids are outside drinking from the hose and they're like getting dirty and like all the nostalgia things we have for the 90s. Um and I think it's hilarious cuz I said, like, nobody was using butter in the 90s except my mom was. So like I heard this phrase and I was like, "Oh, that's my mom." Like I grew up with that. Like I grew up with real food. I grew up on a hobby farm. I was homeschooled K through 12. Like we did all the things before they were cool things to do, right?
Mhm.
My mom would not have been an influencer because, well, maybe she would have. Like if social media had been a thing, she totally could have been like, farmhouse on boom type influencer. But anyway, so I had that bedrock, I had that foundation. And then fast forward to college, I was like, cool, mom, that was fun. I'm gonna do my own thing. I remember
Mhm.
like I cooked some. I intentionally chose the dorm that had a kitchen. I intentionally then moved off campus pretty quickly to a house so I could have a kitchen. So I was cooking some, but I was also like going through the drive-through all the time. Like I had a really crazy degree path, and I was in class and in the lab and I mean lab, the theater, but like we called it the lab, all the time, like until midnight almost every day. Um and so I just didn't have a lot of time. So I went and did my own thing. I was like, I didn't feel great in college. But I kind of just chalked it up to, oh, I'm tired, I'm busy, I'm stressed, college is hard, blah, blah, blah. Right. So then I got married pretty much right out of college. I had a baby really quickly after that. And then my second baby came around and she developed eczema all over her body. So, like, from her neck down, like if she was wearing a shirt, you couldn't see it, but um, basically her neck down to her ankles was covered in eczema.
Mm.
And that was around 6 months that started showing up.
Wow.
Um, and if you think about it, like 6 months is when you start introducing food, right?
Yeah.
So, but I will say, like, I was in the first foods I was introducing my kids to were egg yolk, liver, sauerkraut juice. Like I was doing that stuff, but then I was also giving them Cheerios to like keep them happy, like I just needed to keep them busy or whatever. So I'd give them, I was doing the things and the other things.
Mhm.
And so at 6 months, she develops this. We start going down the whole conventional rabbit hole trail of steroids and oatmeal baths and whatever. By the time she was about a year old, my mom was like, hey, I know this is not really going great for her. I've been reading some about how eczema is maybe related to food. Do you maybe think you could try this elimination thing, right? So we cut out gluten, we cut out dairy, and within a week, her skin went from inflamed, red, itchy, bumpily, all over the place to nothing. Perfectly porcelain, beautiful, clear.
Wow.
And that just it blew my pediatrician's mind, because I had a conventional pediatrician, and it blew my mind, and I went, oh my gosh, food is so much more than calories, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that was like the first time that really clicked for me, that food had, because I would never have thought, like, I was like, oh, skin means whatever you're putting on, so like detergents or lotions or whatever.
Right.
I had never thought about that it could be so directly related to what you were eating. So anyway, that was my like serious fall down the rabbit hole, just like complete tumble head over heels. And it just snowballed from there. So she's turning 13 in like 3 weeks. So it's been that long of just rolling down the hill rabbit hole.
Does she still have any flare-ups from the eczema? Can she eat any of
She
the gluten now?
mostly can eat whatever she wants at this point. It did take us about 8 years of serious gut work to get her to this point. She will have some flare-ups if she uses, she's really sensitive to scents or,
Mhm.
harsh soaps, or she has to use like a baby soap that has no fragrance or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't seem to change with the food. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, for us, so Tim, my husband, has eczema, but he's also, when he was young, he got a lot of the vaccines and has
Mhm.
damaged a lot of his gut. And with our eldest, she was okay. It was with our second where I started to see within 6 months time frame too. We could eat the gluten from sourdough before
Mm.
prior, but with her, when we started introducing foods, I noticed like her tongue. It sounds really interesting, but it almost looked like a topographical map where you could see
Really?
lines and indentations. And I thought that was really strange. And immediately I was like, oh, I think we have to just try to remove the gluten.
Mhm.
And then same thing with her skin. She started breaking out. And I hadn't realized that we were still using, I think it's is it Dremel? No, it's
Draft. Is that what you mean?
Draft.
The
Yeah.
pink one?
The pink one for
Yeah.
babies,
Yeah.
right? Like it's marketed for babies. And I hadn't looked into it at that point until she started breaking out and all this, no, Dremel is the tool for
Mhm.
never
Like
mind.
for
So
your
yeah, it was
teeth or something, right?
right, right, right,
No,
for
that's not
dogs.
it.
Yeah, so it was draft, but she would break out in all of these little red spots and bumps on her
Yeah.
body, and I took her to the pediatrician, and they said to just switch her out to all free, dye-free,
Yeah.
fragrance-free, and
Which you would
since then
think that's what it would be for babies,
for
but
babies, yeah,
I know.
it's bizarre, just the marketing. We don't need
I
the
know.
babies to smell the way, like same thing with baby powder. That's also something we learned not to use.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, going back to what you're saying, how you were feeding her Cheerios while you were feeding her liver. And I,
Like
listening
such
to
a
you,
like
but
split. Like what?
that is the modern ancestral mom, like the journey of the modern ancestral mom, right?
Yeah.
Where, we have access to these things and we want to give them things to snack on because other moms do it too, and other kids have it at school or, and it's just
Mhm.
like the thing. But I want to go back to, so it's great that your mom, you had said that your mom, you grew up this way. Was she also, did she find the works of Dr. Weston A. Price? Because both you and I are
Yep.
sitting here, and we are both Weston A. Price chapter leaders, but I'm
Yeah.
wondering, were you already immersed into that world from your mom prior?
So when Sally Fallon Morell's book, Nourishing Traditions, came out, we lived in Maryland. I grew up in Maryland, and Sally is from Maryland as well. So her book was at our local health food store where my mom was shopping as like a local author featured book, like when it first came out. I think that was in the later 90s. It was, I don't know when exactly, I can't remember. But it was the later 90s. And my mom picked it up because she really liked the tagline that's like, oh shoot, what is it, Sophie? It's like
Technocrats.
yeah. It's oh shoot, I wish I had it in front of me.
I'll look it up real quick.
I can completely blanking on it, but it's something like the nutrition against the grain. It's not against the grain, but it's like,
The cookbook that challenges politically correct nutrition and the diet dictocrats.
That's it. Yes. It's such a great tagline. Yeah. So that captured my mom, because my mom is like a go against the grain type person. Like I said, we were homeschooled in the 90s. So she picked that up. She read it. She actually was a vegetarian before that. Because obviously in the 90s, like if you wanted to be healthy, that was the way, right? But she wasn't feeling great. Like she wasn't great. And so she knew something needed to change, but she thought that was it. So she gets this book, she reads it, and then we like dive headlong, right? And we started getting raw milk. We started doing soaked and soured and sprouted and all of those things. And she was either pregnant at the time or like very soon after got pregnant with my brother. And she started doing caviar and like roe and all of this, like all the classic Weston Price things. But I was already I was at least 11, maybe 12, 13 at that point. So I was already like, this is weird. I've learned about Louis Pasteur. Like, I know why we don't drink raw milk. Like, why, like, this is not making sense to me. So yes, I grew up with this really crunchy mom. We'd always use real butter, like that kind of stuff. And like we weren't vaccinated, that whole thing. But like by the time we started incorporating the Weston Price style stuff, I was really skeptical of it. So yeah, it's kind of, there's a little bit of a seesaw on that one.
Yeah.
Like it's not full.
Right. And so it wasn't when was the moment then that you dove into Weston A. Price? What was that aha moment with food?
So we had been doing this thing with my oldest daughter she was probably 4 years old. We'd been doing it for about 3 years or 4 years. And at that point, I had been just snowballing in this, learning all about nutrition. I had gone hardcore into the paleo movement because at that point in time, that was, the big deal. I'd done a Whole30. I felt incredible on the Whole30. So I was like, this must be the answer. And I had just been so interested in the nutrition part that my mom was like, hey, for Christmas one year, she said, hey, this is what I consider the nutrition Bible. And she handed me a copy of Nourishing Traditions. And I literally like read it like cover to cover between Christmas and New Year's. So,
wow.
so I was it's so ridiculous. But it was like, gold to me. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, we can have bread. Oh my gosh, we can have like, Indian food with chickpeas or hummus. Like I can have all of these things and it can still be in a healthful way, because I was so ingrained in that paleo thing where I was like, none of these things work, and it has to be, all grains are bad and all legumes are bad and all dairy is bad.
Mhm.
And so then it was almost like a permission slip. It was like,
Yeah.
here, you can do this, you can eat all of these things and still have a thriving healthful life. Like this is yeah.
Mm. I love that you talk about making real food doable in real life. And I love that phrase because many people think that eating real food means having the perfect sourdough loaf, raw milk from, freshly milked from your neighbor's cow.
Right.
You've got bone broth simmering in a spotless kitchen.
Oh, right. Yes.
But what does doable real food look like to you?
I mean, I think it looks different in different seasons, right? So honestly, I also think it looks different depending on if you're a woman, depending on what part of your cycle you're in, right? Like
Oh, I'd
sometimes
love to hear
I'm
that.
like, yeah, I can do all the things. Like this week, I was like, I made 2 different types of waffles to put in the freezer and like, made double batches and froze them. And I made cookies to put in the freezer so that when my kids have friends over, I can just throw cookies in the oven. I made bone broth. There's bone broth on my counter right now. And, I was like making all of these things because I'm in that phase where I'm like, I can do all the things right now. Like I made up a recipe because I was like feeling creative and like, and then give me a week or two and I'll be like, I hate all of this. This is the worst. My clothes suck. My hair sucks. The food sucks. The house sucks. Everything is terrible, But I think like we have to, I'm so into this idea, like learning about this was such a game changer to me. Like
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense now. And if you can lean into it and you can figure it out, and you just kind of go with that, it's a really cool thing that you can get into. Anyway, that's not what you asked.
No, but I love that because I'm starting to wonder if like we're on the same cycle.
Are we
because
cycling together?
This
That's
week was
awesome.
like super productive, but like just a couple of weeks ago, I was like laid out, like
Right.
everything.
You're
I'm
like, no,
done with life.
I can't even. No, don't talk to me. Don't turn the lights on. Like,
But
it makes you think like, oh, wait a minute, maybe those Levitical laws had a lot more wisdom than we give them credit for.
Absolutely. I was going to say there is an app. I was just in North Dakota. I'm just going to segue real quick and then I want to get back to it. But there is an app. I don't know if you've heard of it, where
Tell
it
me.
actually tracks your cycle. I had one of the attendees talk to me and it'll tell you exactly where you are in your cycle because you put, your last date of your previous cycle, and then it'll tell you exactly what you need to eat. So like right now, I should be eating miso paste and black beans and chickpeas and squash and lean protein and watermelon. But it tells you like, I'm in my follicular phase.
Right.
So
Cool.
it's called Lively.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And it's something I just started it, so I can't highly recommend it yet, but I'm just kind of just learning it, but starting to really look into how my cycle affects
I feel like it's a life
everything.
hack, really.
I know.
Like to learn
Nobody's
it and to figure it out and to start kind of living into it. It's a life
Yes,
hack that we never were taught.
exactly. So now I'm starting to look into like traditional Chinese medicine
Oh,
and then
cool.
also like the cycles, the phases of our cycle. But
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
to be continued.
Okay.
But
So definitely I think leaning into that when it comes to like I said, like now I've got all of this stuff in my freezer that when I get to that phase of, oh, this sucks, I can just tell the kids to go pull some waffles out of the
yeah.
freezer and pull some sausage patties that I've, made up out of the freezer and make themselves a breakfast because there's no way I'm doing it. in like 2 weeks. So leaning into that, I think, is life hack. And then I also think that it really does look different for different seasons, right? If you're in the trenches, right? Like if you have little kids and they are like, the classic 3 under 3 or the 3 under 5, any of that, like where your kids are really little, maybe they're not sleeping through the night. Maybe you're nursing or you're pregnant or something like that. Like that is a totally different stage of life than where I'm at now, where I have a teenager down to a 6-year-old and everybody can wipe their own bums. Everybody can buckle themselves into their car seats. Everybody can, I'm not going to say they can like put themselves to bed because we're not totally there yet, but like they're not waking me up in the middle of the night to have their diaper changed or something. Right. And so I can do more now than I could at that point. So I think giving ourselves grace and allowing ourselves to have a little bit more like loosey-goosiness around it is okay. Like if you need to go buy sourdough bread from Aldi, honest to goodness, that's better than buying Wonder Bread from the other grocery store. Like I think that we need to look at this in a much more graceful way, or gracious way, and allow ourselves to be real and honest and lean into wherever we are, and know that stages are not forever or phases are not forever. I just came out, like, my newest cookbook is, I would say, the least Weston A version of I have 4 cookbooks, right?
Which one is this one?
So this one is called What Can I Feed These Kids? And it has 22 pages of brand recommendations that may not be the very best option, because part of the criteria that I had for picking these brands was that they would be available in most grocery stores. Mm-hmm. So not a specialty grocery store,
right?
Not a Whole Foods, not a Sprouts. Mm-hmm. I don't have a Whole Foods or a Sprouts anywhere near me. Yeah. I don't have a Trader Joe's. I have a Publix. I have an Aldi, and I have a local grocery store. Mm-hmm. So I wanted my, like, people that I live around to have these options, right? To know what they could go into the regular grocery store and buy.
Yeah.
Because I know most people are not going to be doing things as hardcore as you and I might be doing them. Mm-hmm. But they want to be doing more for their kids. They know that what they were eating, Fruit Loops and those Lunchables and like those, you remember those little like grenade style juice boxes? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like it looked like a grenade. It was like a plastic bottle that had like Kool-Aid in it or something.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. Or like Gushers, like these are the things that we ate when we were kids. And like, we know, for the most part, all millennials know that's not really a good thing to be feeding humans. We know that that's not really healthy, and we want what's best for our kids, but we're working full time and we're commuting and we're, don't have the skills because we weren't taught how to cook. So anyway, I wrote this cookbook with that in mind. All the recipes in there are super, super easy. So if you wanted to make something, you could. But they also have, like, if you wanted to have spaghetti dinner, here's a, jarred pasta sauce that's pretty good. Here's a pasta that's pretty good. And then just grab some ground beef and you have a full meal. Like, we have to stop overcomplicating it. Mm-hmm. The health food world and the wellness space and the crunchy moms and whatever, it looks so complicated on Instagram and looks so complicated when you look at those cookbooks. And I love a good complicated recipe because I love to cook, I have so many friends that do not, like they don't get pleasure out of cooking. They don't get, and maybe they could if they, had a mindset shift or whatever. But like, we're not starting there. We're starting with, I want to feed my kids better. How do we do that? So
I love that. No, there's so much that I can unpack. And I think that you're absolutely right. You go on Instagram, you see these trad wives, and they are making, what was it, goldfish crackers from scratch. And
which
I
I will
watched it.
say, I have a goldfish cracker recipe in one
Oh,
of my
you do?
cookbooks,
Oh gosh.
but
That's not what, yeah.
I'm with you.
But
Those are
like
like for the overachievers.
I haven't gotten there yet. And I think that this flip side could be said about my cookbook and the Nourishing Asian Kitchen too, where I think it's really simple,
Mhm.
but others might find it complicated, right? The way that I might find like the goldfish crackers complicated, but I know it's most likely simple. It's a couple of ingredients.
Yeah.
Well, what are the first few changes that you think would make the biggest difference without burning people out when they're on this real food, real life journey?
I think if we're talking strictly food, that trying to cut out seed oils is probably one of the biggest things that's going to make the biggest difference.
Mm.
And and it'll make you read ingredients labels, and it'll make you put most things back on the shelf because so it's in everything.
I know.
Or they are in everything.
It is.
It's getting better. It's getting way better, which is why I was able to put in all those recommendations in my cookbook. But if you start with that, not only will it be much better for your health, you'll likely feel it. You may not realize it, but if you eat it again, you'll feel it. And then it'll also, it'll make you realize, it'll make you pay attention, and it'll make you probably cook more from home.
Yeah.
Now, the caveat to that is that if you're going to buy that stuff at the grocery store and not make it from scratch, it probably will cost more.
Yeah.
But it's so hard because there's definitely a give and take on that one.
Yeah, it is. I'll just tell you, I finally found masa chips in our local. We don't have a Whole Foods or a Sprouts, but we do have an Earth Fare, which is kind of
cool. Sounds
like
cool.
the healthy alternative grocery store. And they just brought in masa chips for $12.99 for a small bag. And I couldn't even buy it.
I know.
And
I do love masa. I think they're
do
wonderful.
I do too. And Tim loves those chips. He's like, of
Yeah,
all
Ryan
the
does
tortilla
too.
chips, even if you didn't tell me they were deep fried in tallow, those would be the ones that I
Yeah.
would pick on a blind
I know
taste test.
they're great. They are delicious, and they're very expensive.
They are. But I like that. I like that you're saying the seed oils, because it's true. Once we started looking into seed oils, we couldn't buy anything anymore. And that's when it just started for us on like making our own sauces, because for Asian sauces in particular, we don't use a lot of like American dressings or anything like that. We do a lot of what I thought was home cooked meals with Asian sauces, and then realized those all had to be thrown away because there were so many other ingredients like additives and preservatives, aside from the seed oils.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild.
Like and it's like I used to just say cook at home, right? But then exactly what you're saying, like it's not that simple. Like you really do have to pay attention to what is in the ingredients you're buying to be cooking at home. Because if you say cook at home, some people will be like, oh yeah, well that means I'm buying like a gravy packet and a ranch dressing packet and a loaf of bread, and those count as ingredients, not single ingredients that you're taking home. So usually, like if I say cook at home, what I mean is you get single ingredients and then you're putting them together in a dish. But yeah, it really, I feel like it depends on where you're at. Also, with where you start, like if you grew up in a house, or if you grew up, like if you know how to do some things in the kitchen, anything like some basic level of cooking skills, you're so far ahead of a bunch of people,
Yeah.
like there are some people that just don't even know how to really cook anything. And for those people, going from heating up a frozen pizza pretty much every day or a frozen dinner or whatever to making a salad dressing.
Yeah.
It's not, a salad dressing is super easy to make. But that could be like way beyond your scope of even being able to think about it.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's so interesting because people are always like, well, what do you do? What's your first step? And I just really feel like it just depends on where you're at.
Well, so what do you recommend for families with picky children? Like, I think sometimes that's where parents, even though you may be on this journey, maybe you're a modern ancestral mom and you're finding out about all of this. We're blessed we didn't have picky kids only because my mom was feeding them a lot of weird fermented foods from a young age. But a lot of other children don't. And they're just, my sister, for example, even though she was born in Vietnam, she came to the States at 2 years old. And the only thing that she would eat back then, my mom said, was like hot dogs. She couldn't get her to eat anything else. And they
Oh
were
my
not,
gosh.
I'm sure there were not healthy hot dogs back then,
No.
but
Couldn't have been.
so what do? Do you hide things in your kids' food? Do you teach them to eat the right thing? Like, what's your recommendation? Maybe it's all of it. Maybe there's more.
I am staunchly against hiding things from your children. Now, I will even go so far as to say, like, we don't do Santa Claus and Easter Bunny because I won't lie to my kids.
Yeah.
Take that as you will. I'm not like, do what you want to do with your own children. But like, to me, that's a very important line. Like, I'm not going to lie to them. So I don't hide things. I don't hide liver. I don't hide vegetables, whatever it is. Now, I will add that stuff to our meals. And, like I'll buy the blend, or like when we butcher animals and we make our own ground pork, we'll put the liver and the heart in there and grind it all together. So every time we have ground pork or sausage, it has heart and liver in it. Or I'll buy the stuff from the grocery store, the beef that's already, got it mixed in. Or we'll use pluck, but my kids know. And I think that hiding things from them, even in their food, can create distrust between you and your child, which you don't want long term. I think we have to think long term on raising our kids, even when it comes to just the food. It'll cause distrust between you and your child. It potentially could cause distrust towards food, messing up their relationship with food.
Yeah.
And those are just things like, long term, I think that's a bad strategy. Yeah, I think the better strategy is to say, hey, I made tacos. They have beef in them. And there's some liver in there. You're not going to taste it, but it's going to make our bodies really strong. Right. Okay. So that is one thing. That's one thing about hiding. I always feel like I have to say that. But the other thing is that people, first of all, I will caveat this by saying, if you have one of those kids that is incredibly picky, like they have a list of like 15 foods that they will try, that is considered extreme picky eating, and you're going to need help. You're going to need to see a feeding specialist. That's not a normal version of picky eating.
Mm-hmm.
And call in the big guns when they're needed, right? But within a normal child, if they're just not interested in trying things, our family goes with the division of responsibility, which is a feeding philosophy that was developed by a woman in I think it was the 80s. Her name is Ellen Satter. You can look this up. She created this feeding strategy that she called the division of responsibilities, and it outlines what the parents are responsible for and what the children are responsible for. So at the dinner table. So the parents are responsible for what is served, when it is served, and where it is served. And the children are responsible for if they eat and how much they eat. And that if is a big, hard thing to wrap your head around as a parent. But what this does is it creates a trust between parents and children. So there's a mutual trust because the child is trusting you as the parent to provide the food, right? To make sure that it is served. It's served in a normal sort of space, or if you're doing something special like a picnic, whatever. But it is their responsibility to make sure that there is food served. And then the parent trusts that the child can regulate themselves, that they can tap into their own intuition, and that they can learn to eat things when they're ready to do that. And I think we have to, as parents, kind of relinquish a little bit of control. We can't force our kids to eat things. We can't stuff it into their mouths. We can model good behavior. We can model trying new things. That's something I'm doing with my kids now. I don't like fish, but I still make fish and I will eat it. And sometimes I will eat it and take a bite and then take a big swig of something and be like, oh, that is not my favorite. But it's also fine. It's good for our kids to see us doing that.
Yeah.
It's good for them to say, oh, not everything we eat has to be our favorite. That's a line we use with our kids all the time. Not everything we eat has to be our favorite. And so to then model to our kids, yeah, not everything we eat has to be our favorite. Look, mom's eating the fish, even though she doesn't love it.
Yeah. I like that.
And then the other thing to remember is that kids takes a lot of exposure to for a kid to even be willing to try a food. So a lot of times we'll hear this people say, oh, it takes 10 times for a kid to try something before they like it. That's not it. It's exposures. So that means seeing it at the grocery store, talking about it, looking at a picture of it in the book that they are reading, smelling it, touching it, cutting it up with a kid-safe knife, maybe growing it in the garden, even feeding it to the dog. These are all exposures before they're even willing to try it.
Yeah.
So giving our kids grace on that and recognizing that they are, developing, their brains are developing, their emotions are developing, and they're learning the world, right? And this is a new thing and it's potentially scary. And maybe it's sounds extreme to people, to say food is scary, but if it's not something they're used to, it could be. And so giving them grace to have those experiences and thoughts and feelings and emotions. And then, another couple of things is one, when you're serving your kids, when you're making dinner, and you're making something your kids don't like, I always tell my kids, I'm not catering to you, but there will always be something on the table that you like. So that could be sourdough bread. That could be raw milk. So just one thing on the table that I know each of my children will eat. That doesn't have to be their favorite thing, but it needs to be something so that they feel welcome at the table, they feel seen, they feel like they belong there, and that somebody has thought of them. And then the other thing is that people are always like, I mean, this goes back to what we were saying before, right? Like overcomplicating real food. If your family likes tacos, make tacos. If your family likes stir fry, make stir fry. Like if your family likes hamburgers or pizza or chicken nuggets, make those things.
Yeah. Right.
Don't just go and make salmon fillets because you think that that's the healthy thing to make. Yeah, that's the one where I'm just like, it's the wellness industry has so co-opted what's healthy. And it just is, it's infuriating to me.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a lot. I just feel like I answered a lot of things on that.
I love it. That's a hard one because it's, I say picky kids, but sometimes I have a picky husband,
Sometimes I'm picky.
Right.
I mean, I was just watching, do you know the show on YouTube? This is like a homeschool goldmine.
Oh,
okay. The show is called Tasting History with Max Miller. Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
It's so good. Okay. I do have to caveat it. He is a gay man and he's married to a man. So, but he's not like in your face about it. So, but if your family is really sensitive to that, maybe preview it before you put your kids in front of it. But he takes these recipes from history, even like all the way back into Roman times and like Mesopotamia and like all of this, and then creates them in his kitchen, all while giving this history lesson on the food, and then tastes it. And my daughter and I were just watching an episode that he did that was like the 20 worst things that I've made or something. And he was like, listen, I'm a little picky about like texture and I'm a little picky about super sour things. This is a grown man who has a cooking show on YouTube for his entire livelihood. And he has things he's picky about. Like we all do.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that.
Yeah. I think I'm excited to watch it. I never thought of the concept of texture being something that people could get picky about. Like, for example, boba. I mean, that's I often
boba.
hear. I know we do too. But there are people that say like, "Oh, the texture just weirds me out." And I don't know, maybe Asian food has more interesting textures in a lot of things, but I'd never really thought about that before. Going to snacks, because I think this is where our family, and it's maybe a biggest trap for many modern families. Sometimes kids graze all day and then nobody's hungry for real meals. How do you handle snacks in your house or with the families that you help? Are there like snack swaps that you love? Are there more snacks that are more blood sugar stable? I say that because like we always carry the meat sticks. I always have it in my backpack and the kids will go through that, but it's not exciting.
Christine, my co-host on my podcast, she calls that purse meat. Which I think is hilarious. She calls, would you like some purse meat?
Oh, I love that. So we all carry around some purse meat. Is there anything more exciting? Okay, it's so funny.
Okay, snacks I feel like are another.
Yeah, I know.
This is like mini podcasts within one podcast. Mm-hmm. We're hitting all the things.
I know you have another cookbook, the Nourishing Junk Food.
Yeah.
Right. So
okay.
Maybe that, but like maybe not.
No, I have a snack one.
Okay. Oh, you do?
I do. It's called In Betweens.
Okay.
And
there you go.
It actually is more than just a cookbook. Like all of these, I tried to do a little bit more than just write recipes. And that one has a whole kind of snacking strategy that Like if you feel like your house has been overtaken by snacking, this is a way to kind of rein that in and kind of make snacking
This is great.
useful, make it work for your
Yeah.
family. In general, this is something that I have changed my mind about since I started recording my show with Christine. She said it on an episode at one point and I was blown away. She said, "We don't do snacks." And I was like, "Wait a minute, you have a toddler. Like, what do you mean?" And it took a bit of thinking and a bit of like coming to grips with it. And I was like, actually, I think you're right. I think snacks are probably sabotaging our main meal times.
Yeah.
So like if you get to the table, if your kid gets to the table, they're not actually hungry because they ate an hour ago or an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. Then of course they're not going to be willing to try anything new because they're not hungry. Even if they feel a little tingle of hungry, they're not hungry enough to eat what you've served.
Right.
But so this cookbook I did some research into snacking, the history of snacking, and it's a very new thing. It came about during the Industrial Revolution, and it kind of ramped up. Like it just went, from little street vendors selling spiced nuts on the corner outside of the factories to, it just like ballooned. And even since the 80s, like it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger, bigger. And the snacking industry is outrageous now. Like it's outrageous.
Yeah.
You would even as a kid, like I remember we would have chips and like salsa and stuff at a party, but we would never have had that at my house.
That's true.
Like we would never have had a bunch of, it just wasn't a thing. So one of the ways that I suggest kind of attacking snacks is using this strategy that the French use that is called, I don't speak French, so sorry, but it's called a legoté, okay? And it is an intentional snack. It has a time and it is planned for. And like I said, the kid will trust that it's there. It's served when it's served. And the parent can plan for it. So they're not like the kid's not coming and going, "Mom, I'm hungry." And they go, "Okay, here's a bowl of goldfish," because I think that's where we get in trouble is we panic about it.
Yeah. Right.
We go, "Oh my gosh, you're hungry. Here's a granola bar," but if you're intentional about it, and you plan it, it's coming, then you can be prepared. So you intentionally have it planned out, it's coming. You're prepared with what it's going to be. Oftentimes, the most common is a baguette with butter and dark chocolate, which like, doesn't that sound awesome?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
But like that's got a bunch of fat in it. It's got the polyphenols from the chocolate. Obviously their baguettes are way better than ours. So it doesn't have protein, but okay, who cares? And then then the kid, so that's at like 3:00, right? Right after they get out of school, their parents have this snack ready for them. And then the French don't eat dinner till like 8:00 at night. So for a child to go from noon to 8:00 at night, that's a lot. That's a long stretch. But as Americans, if we're going from noon to 5:30, that's no big deal.
Right.
So we kind of have to think about that. And if you're trying to get your kids to stop snacking, it is really important to tell them, "Hey, this meal, lunch, breakfast, whatever, this meal is all we're having between now and the next meal. So make sure that you sit down and eat enough so that you will be, you can get through until the next meal." I will say I allow my kids to have raw milk between meals. So if they come to me and they tell me they're hungry, they know they're allowed to go have some milk.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Like we don't really do snacks in between.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get a copy of every single one of your books, Corey.
I'll send them to you.
I know. Well, when we were last at, where were we? We were in Ohio about a month ago. I meant to go grab them all so I wouldn't have to pay for shipping, but I really do. After this conversation,
They were sold out. So,
there you go.
Which is great. A great
That's
problem
a great
for me.
thing. I'm so excited. I want every single one of your books. But for everybody who is just learning about you now, where can they go? Where can they find out more about you? I think we've talked about everything from what do we feed children? What do we feed our family? If we might not have a lot of access to, all of the raw milk, all of the grass-fed, grass-finished, but we still want to feed them good, nourishing food. What are the snacks? What are the nourishing junk foods, and really like make your burgers. If your family loves to eat burgers, make your pizzas, but make them healthy, make them nourishing, make them instead of ordering from outside. And then you have another cookbook we hadn't talked about, but turning one chicken into 5 meals. It's just something which is near and dear to my heart because that's how we had to eat growing up. With our budget and our family. So, where can people find more about you, more about your cookbooks, and what you're up to next?
Okay, so my website is For Nutrients Sake. There's 2 S's in there, so you have to get that. fornutrientsake.com. My handle on Instagram is also For Nutrients Sake. My podcast is called Modern Ancestral Mamas. That's on YouTube and on the whatever other podcast platforms there are. And I think that's it. My cookbooks are on that website. So I do not sell them usually in print version. Frankly, I don't want to have boxes in my garage. So if I'm at a conference, then I will bring some that are printed. But otherwise, you can buy them to download. It's an instant download. And frankly, it's still a lot cheaper for you if you buy them that way. But then you have to print them yourself. So
right. But you get them instantly, so you can
get them instantly right away.
Right.
Yeah. I did have somebody reach out to me the other day and said, "Hey, I need an ice cream recipe." And I was like, "Great, buy my cookbook because it's in there." And she was like, "Oh, this is perfect. Like this is just what I wanted." But yeah, so if you're at any of the conferences that I'm at, I will have a few copies, but otherwise they're just downloads.
Okay. Well, Corey, this was such a refreshing conversation because I think people need permission to make real food simple again. Like it doesn't have to be fancy or perfect, or it doesn't have to be a whole performance in the kitchen, unless of course you are a trad wife.
Right. I mean, if you want to,
great. If you want to, that's great.
There are sometimes I totally want to.
I've thought about it. I'm like, I wonder if I could just fit in my old wedding dress and just like have that face and like start making stir fry.
Please, like that'd be so funny. My wedding dress is like in a preserved box, like I got it preserved after like cleaned and all that. That would be a thing. But like maybe a prom dress. Like I bet if I scoured my mom's house for an old prom dress from the 2000s,
I bet you
that could be a viral video.
Thing. I know. I'm like, I could maybe do that.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
Well, for the mom listening, I'll just end with this, who is overwhelmed and thinking that, I want to feed my family better, but I don't know where to start. What would you tell her to do this week?
Oh, okay. That's a good one. This week. I would tell her to, a few things. Get enough sleep. Go outside first thing in the morning. Read a book to your kids just for fun, not because you have to, just because you like it. So it has to be a book you like. Can't just be like a counting book. And then make something that you really like with as real ingredients as you can handle. So whatever that means to you.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful. Everyone, go follow Corey at For Nutrient's Sake and visit fornutrientsake.com and check out her podcast, Modern Ancestral Mamas. Thank you so much for being here, Corey. Thank you for
Thank
sharing your
you.
wisdom.
You know what? I love what you guys are doing. I love the little circle of people that we have all connected with, and I think you're really great too. So thanks for being a friend.
Corey. Thank you, Corey. We'll talk soon.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.